Rachel Scanlon. I'm an artist. I make visual art, that's things that we can look at. I like to make 3D things, so that's things that isn't flat, it sticks out, it's solid, it can stand up in the middle of the room on its own, you can walk around it, you can see it from different sides. So yeah, I make sculptures and 3D things. Sometimes I use construction materials like wood and metal, and I make big things. But maybe it's something that should be small, something like a book, but I make it really big, and then you can go inside the book. Sometimes I make something that should be big and I make it small, like a house, a tiny house that we can see and we can hold in our hand. So I like to play around with the size of things. I like to play around with the materials that I use. Some of my materials, as I've said, wood and construction materials and metal and screws and hinges and tools to put all these things together. Sometimes it's just paper and card. Sometimes it's clay. Clay's a really good material because you can really get your hands into it, you can squidge it, you can cut it, you can roll it, you can shape it, you can take it apart and put it back together. There's loads of things you can do with clay. So today I'm going to show you some things that you can have a go at if you want to do with clay, and how you can make sculptures a little bit like mine. So when I'm using clay, I like to make sure I've got something to protect my table. So I've got a plastic sheet here. I like to roll my sleeves up because it can be quite messy. And then I like to get ready. I have a towel ready to dry my hands. I have some water because I'll need that for sticking clay and for cleaning my hands. I have some clay tools. This one's quite good for rolling. Some of these are quite good for chopping and cutting or poking. Some of them are sharp. Some of them are more like a knife with a blade shape. Some of them have got bumpy edges like this one. Some of them are just sticks that I have that I can make different shapes and marks with. So I'm going to show you some of these ideas. Here is a lump of clay I have here. So I can simply chop into this and make it a different shape and a different size. I can make one lump into two, or I might decide I want to roll it and make it flat. I'll get my rolling pin and I'll give it a good squash down on the table, and I will roll it forwards and backwards. It takes quite a few rolls to make this go flat, and then I might turn it around, pick it up and turn it sideways, and roll it again. Here we go. So now it's fairly flat, like this. I can decide what I'm going to do with it. I might want to make marks, like I said, with these tools. Some of these lumpy, bumpy edges make interesting patterns. There we go, like this. I might decide to cut out some shapes from it. I quite like making things with holes in, so maybe I'll cut out a window here. There we go. Pick that up. I can try and poke out this window shape. There we go. I have a window shape now. That's something I quite like that. I'm going to put that to one side. With my other bit of clay here, I'm going to try and roll it with my hands and shape it. Sometimes it's quite tough. I might want to wet my hands a little bit in the water and just smooth it on, just to soften it up a bit. Sometimes it's been out for a while. It's a little bit old. You don't want too much water. I don't want it to be dripping wet and making a mess on the table. Just a little bit of water on my clay, and then it's easy to shape. Now I'm going to try and cut this. There we go. Again, there we go. And let's see what shape I can make. I can make a box. If I squash it like this and like this, and I keep squashing it, I can use the table too here. and push down, I can make a kind of dice shape, also known as a cuboid, a cube even. And I can squash this cube around and around. I quite like having fingerprints in the clay. I can see that I've made it, it's my piece of clay, it's got my fingerprints in it. Sometimes I quite like having smooth edges too, so that means the table helps here. Give me a smooth edge on these sides. Okay, quite like that shape. Maybe this one can become a round sphere, a ball. Let's see, if I keep rolling it between my two hands, oh, it's gone quite flat that way. Let's turn it this way and roll again and squashing it. Oh, I quite like that. And then perhaps I could put these two shapes together. If I just place it like that though, it's going to roll off, it's not going to stick. So what I'll need to do is some little marks on the surface of this one. I'm going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 one way, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 the other way. And the same on the ball, I'm going to do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 lines one way, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 lines the other way. So what I've done is I've cut it, I'm going to wet it slightly on both sides, wet that one, and then I'm going to wiggle it into position. So the two sides that I've cut and wet, I'm going to wiggle. And that's what I say in my head when I make these objects that stick together. I say cut, wet, wiggle. And I squash these shapes together, and it makes quite a satisfying little sculpture. You can have a go at making anything you choose. You can cut, you can chop, you can roll, you can smush, you can squash, you can press, you can put fingerprints in, you can cut it with sharp edges or wibbly edges. Have a go and see what you come up with. I quite like this in that I've made a little window that I can look through and see my sculpture inside. Here, like this.